As the officers dragged Emeka toward the exit, Rex suddenly jumped up. The dog barked loud and desperate. He ran toward the judge's bench. "Rex, no," a juror called. But Rex didn't listen. He barked at the judge over and over, and his voice echoed through the courtroom. He stood on his hind legs, and his paws rested on the bench. The judge looked annoyed. "Remove that animal." An officer tried to grab Rex, but the dog dodged him. Rex ran to Emeka and jumped on him, licking his face, whining and crying. It was the saddest sound anyone had ever heard. Even some of the officers looked away because they couldn't bear it. "Get the dog out of here," the judge ordered. 2 officers grabbed Rex, and the dog struggled, barking and howling. "Rex," Emeka shouted. "It's okay, boy, it's okay." But Rex didn't stop, because he knew something no one else did. But this story did not begin here. And before we dive into the full story, please subscribe to our channel, like the video, and comment where in the world you're watching from. We'd love to know how far this tale is traveling. Grab a popcorn, because what you're about to hear will question everything you think you know about people. If you've done that, let's begin. To understand Emeka's journey, we must go back to where it all started. Chief Orji stood by the tall window of his mansion in Lekki, watching the morning sun paint his compound in gold. He was a big man, not just in body, but in the way people spoke his name with respect and a little bit of fear. In Lagos, everyone knew Chief Orji. Businessmen trembled when they heard he was coming to a meeting because they knew he would see through their lies. Poor people loved him because he never cheated anyone, never took what wasn't his, and always paid his workers on time. His wealth came from sweat and smart decisions, not from tricks or stolen money. He sipped his tea and smiled at the thought of the young man who would arrive soon. Emeka, that boy was special, and Chief knew it from the very first day he hired him 5 years ago as a cleaner. Just a simple cleaner who swept the floors and washed the cars. But Emeka was different from the others. He worked like his entire life depended on every single task, no matter how small. He never complained, never gossiped with the other staff, and never asked for favors he hadn't earned. Chief remembered the day he tested Emeka's honesty. He had left 50,000 naira on his desk, half hidden under some papers, just to see what would happen. Most workers would have pocketed it and said nothing. But Emeka found it, walked straight to Chief's office, and handed it over with both hands like it was sacred. That day, Chief decided this young man was worth investing in. Now, 5 years later, Emeka was his personal assistant. He handled Chief's schedule, attended important meetings, and even managed some private business deals. Chief never regretted trusting him, not once, not even for a second. His phone buzzed on the table. Emeka's name flashed on the screen. "Good morning, sir, I'm on my way." Chief smiled wider. "Emeka, my boy, take your time. No need to rush and get knocked down by those crazy Lagos drivers." He ended the call and shook his head, still smiling. His friends often asked him why he trusted Emeka so much, why he gave a former cleaner access to his most private affairs. Chief always gave them the same answer. "That boy is like a son to me, more loyal than some people's real children." Downstairs, the black gate rolled open with a low mechanical hum. A young man walked through, tall and dark-skinned, wearing a simple blue shirt and black trousers. Nothing fancy or expensive. But he carried himself with dignity, with the quiet confidence of someone who knew his worth wasn't measured by designer labels or flashy jewelry. That was Emeka Williams. Before he could even raise his hand to knock on the heavy wooden door, something big and furry slammed into him with the force of pure joy. "Rex, easy boy, easy." Emeka laughed as the German shepherd jumped on him, nearly knocking him backward. The dog's tail wagged so fast it was just a brown blur, and his tongue painted wet stripes across Emeka's face. Rex loved Emeka more than anyone else in the entire mansion, maybe even more than he loved Chief himself. The dog always knew when Emeka was coming. He would sit by the door 10 minutes early, ears perked up, waiting. Okay, I missed you too, you crazy dog." Emeka rubbed Rex's head with both hands, scratching behind the ears the way the dog loved. Rex pressed against his legs and followed him everywhere he went. To the kitchen where the housemaid was preparing breakfast, to the living room with its leather sofas and expensive paintings, even to the bathroom door sometimes, sitting outside like a furry guard. Chief Orji came down the stairs, his laughter booming through the house. "That dog loves you more than me, Emeka. I'm getting jealous over here." Emeka grinned, his white teeth flashing. "He's a good boy, sir, very loyal, just like you taught him to be." "Just like you," Chief said, patting Emeka's shoulder with his heavy hand. They sat down in the living room where the morning light poured through the windows. The housemaid, a middle-aged woman named Patience, brought a tray with hot tea, bread, and scrambled eggs. Emeka opened his black notebook and started going through the day's schedule, his pen ready. "Sir, you have a meeting with Martins and Benson at 11 o'clock. Then lunch with the governor's assistant at the Eco Hotel. And in the evening, there's a charity event at the Civic Centre." Chief nodded slowly, but when Emeka mentioned Martins and Benson, something changed in his face. The smile disappeared. His jaw tightened just a little. Emeka noticed immediately. He had worked with Chief long enough to read his moods like a book. "Sir, is everything okay?" Chief was quiet for a long moment. He set his teacup down carefully, as if he's buying time to choose his words. Then he sighed, a deep sound that came from somewhere tired inside him. "Emeka, I need to tell you something, but it stays between us, you understand." Emeka leaned forward, his voice serious. "Of course, sir, always. What is it?" "I've been checking the accounts, the business accounts I share with Martins and Benson, and something is very wrong." Emeka's heart sank. He had known Martins and Benson for years. They were Chief's business partners, always smiling, always acting like they were family. Martins was the shorter one with the round belly who laughed too loud at jokes that weren't funny. Benson was tall and smooth, always wearing expensive watches and cologne that cost more than some people's monthly salary. "Wrong how, sir?" Chief's voice dropped lower. "Money is missing, a lot of it, millions of naira, and when I check the numbers they don't add up. The records have been changed, manipulated. I confronted them last week. And they begged me. They said it was all a mistake, just some accounting errors they would fix. But I don't believe them, Emeka. I've been doing business for 30 years. I know the difference between a mistake and a theft." Emeka felt something cold settle in his stomach. Betrayal. That's what this was. After all Chief had done for those men, after all the opportunities he had given them, they had stolen from him. "What are you going to do, sir?" Chief's face became hard like stone. "I'm going to find out the complete truth. I'm going to gather all the evidence. And if they stole from me, if they betrayed my trust, I will report them to the authorities. I don't care how long we've been friends. I don't care about their families or their businesses. Wrong is wrong." Emeka nodded, respect filling his chest. This was why he loved Chief. The man never compromised his principles. Not for money, not for friendship, not for anything. "Be careful, sir. People can be very dangerous when they're cornered, when they have everything to lose." Chief smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Don't worry, my boy. I've handled worse than Martins and Benson, much worse." Just then the front door opened. A young woman walked in and the whole room seemed to brighten. She was beautiful in a natural way, with her hair pulled back in a neat bun and wearing a sharp black blazer with a pencil skirt. A lawyer's outfit, professional and confident. "Good morning, Daddy. Morning, Emeka." "Adeora, my princess." Chief stood up fast and pulled her into a big hug, lifting her slightly off the ground even though she was a grown woman. Emeka stood up too, smiling. "Good morning, Ada." Adeora smiled back at him, but it wasn't just a normal, polite smile. Her eyes stayed on him a little longer than necessary. Her cheeks turned a soft shade of pink, and her fingers played with the strap of her handbag in that nervous way she had. Chief noticed everything. He grinned like a man who had just won a bet. "You two should just get married already. Stop wasting time dancing around each other like shy teenagers." Daddy, Adeora's face went completely red. She looked down at the floor. Emeka laughed nervously, his own cheeks warming. "Sir, please." But Chief wasn't joking, not even a little bit. He sat back down and looked at both of them with the seriousness of a man making a business deal. "I mean it, every single word. Emeka, you're a good man, hardworking, honest, respectful. You remind me of myself when I was young and hungry for success. And Adeora, you're my daughter, my pride, my greatest achievement. If you two love each other, and I know you do, then you have my full blessing, my complete support." Adeora looked up slowly, still shy. But she was smiling now, a real smile that made her eyes shine. Emeka didn't know what to say. His heart was pounding so hard he thought everyone could hear it. He had loved Adeora for 2 years now, ever since the day she came back from law school in England. But he never thought Chief would accept him. After all, he was just a worker, a former cleaner. And she was the daughter of one of the richest, most powerful men in Lagos. But here was Chief telling him it was okay, giving him permission, giving him hope. "Thank you, sir," Emeka finally said, his voice thick with emotion. I don't know what to say, I never thought." "Say yes," Adeora whispered, looking up at him with those beautiful eyes. Emeka's face broke into the biggest smile of his life. "Yes, 1,000 times yes." Chief clapped his hands together, the sound echoing like thunder. Good, that's settled then. We'll plan the introduction ceremony after I finish dealing with this business mess. Now let's get back to work before I start crying like a woman. Rex barked loudly as if celebrating too. Everyone laughed, and for a moment everything felt perfect. Everything felt right. But outside the mansion, parked on the street about 50 meters away, a black car sat in the shadows of a large tree. Two men sat inside, watching the gate, watching the lights in the windows, watching Chief Orgy's world through dark, angry eyes. Martins and Benson. Their faces were cold and hard. Their eyes burned with something dangerous, something desperate. He's going to destroy us, Martins said quietly, his voice shaking. He's going to take everything, our businesses, our houses, our families. Benson's hand gripped the steering wheel so hard his knuckles turned white. His jaw was clenched tight. Not if we destroy him first. Martins turned to look at him, fear and shock mixing on his face. What are you saying? Benson turned to face his partner. His voice was low and dangerous, like a snake about to strike. I'm saying Chief Orgy knows too much, and if he talks, if he goes to the police, we're finished. Everything we built, everything we worked for, gone. Our families will suffer, our children will carry our shame. Martin swallowed hard, his mouth was dry. So what do we do? Benson stared at the mansion with cold, calculated eyes. At the gate, at the warm lights glowing in the windows, at the life they were about to destroy. We silence him permanently. A chill ran down Martin's spine like ice water. You mean? Yes, Benson said, his voice flat and final. Before he ruins us, before he takes everything, we end this tonight. The car's engine started with a low rumble. It drove away slowly, disappearing into the Lagos traffic. Inside the house, Chief Orgy laughed with his daughter and the man who would soon be his son-in-law. Rex lay at Emeka's feet, calm and happy and completely unaware. None of them knew. None of them saw the storm coming. None of them realized that before the sun rose again, blood would stain the expensive carpet and lives would be shattered forever. Would Chief Orgy survive the night, or would his honesty become his death sentence? The darkness was coming, and it was already at the gate. The clock on the wall showed 8:47 in the evening when Chief Orgy finally sat down in his study. The house was quiet now because most of the staff had gone home for the night. Only Ibrahim, the security guard, remained at the gate, half asleep in his old wooden chair under the dim yellow light. Chief sat at his massive mahogany desk, surrounded by stacks of documents and bank statements. His reading glasses rested on his nose, and a cup of tea sat beside him, now cold and forgotten. He was still thinking about the missing money, and the more he looked at the numbers, the angrier he became. Martins and Benson had been stealing from him for months, maybe even years. They had been clever about it, moving small amounts here and there so he wouldn't notice right away. But Chief hadn't built his empire by being careless or stupid. His phone buzzed on the desk, lighting up with a text message. It was from Martins. Chief, please, can we come see you tonight? We need to talk, we want to fix this. Please give us one more chance. Chief stared at the message for a long time, his finger hovering over the screen. Part of him wanted to ignore it completely, to call the police right now and let them handle everything. Part of him wanted to see both men arrested and dragged away in handcuffs. But another part of him, the part that remembered their years of friendship and all the deals they had done together, that part wanted to give them one last chance to explain themselves. He typed back slowly. Come at 9, let's settle this once and for all. He put the phone down and sighed deeply, rubbing his tired eyes. Rex was lying near his feet under the desk, and the dog's ears twitched. He lifted his head and looked up at Chief with those intelligent brown eyes, as if sensing that something was wrong in the air. Don't worry, boy, Chief said, reaching down to rub the dog's head. Everything will be fine. We'll hear what they have to say and then we'll make the right decision. But Rex didn't look convinced. His ears stayed flat against his head, and a soft whine escaped his throat. Downstairs, Emeka was just preparing to leave for the night. He had stayed late to finish organizing some important paperwork for tomorrow's meeting. Ajora had left hours earlier to go home and prepare for a big court case she had the next morning. She had kissed Emeka on the cheek before leaving, making him smile like a foolish schoolboy. Good night, sir, Emeka called out from the hallway, his bag slung over his shoulder. Good night, my boy, Chief's voice echoed from upstairs. Make sure you lock the gate properly on your way out. Yes, sir. Emeka walked toward the front door, his footsteps echoing on the marble floor. Rex followed him as usual, his tail wagging slowly from side to side. At the gate, Emeka bent down and patted the dog's head gently. "Go back inside now, Rex. Go protect Chief, okay? That's your job." Rex barked softly, then turned and trotted back toward the house, looking back once as if to make sure Emeka was really leaving. Emeka smiled and walked out into the street. The night air was cool and fresh, a relief from Lagos's usual heat. The city was still noisy in the distance with its endless traffic and music and voices, but this part of Lekki was peaceful and quiet. The streetlights cast long shadows on the pavement. He didn't know this would be the last normal moment of his entire life. Back at the mansion, about 20 minutes later, the gate opened again with its mechanical hum. A black car rolled in slowly, its headlights turned off so it moved like a dark ghost. The engine was almost silent. Martins and Benson stepped out, both wearing dark clothes that seemed to swallow the light. Their faces were tense and nervous, their movements jerky and uncertain. Martins kept wiping his sweaty palms on his trousers, and Benson's jaw was clenched so tight it looked painful. Ibrahim waved at them from his chair. He knew these men well because they had been coming to this house for years, always with smiles and handshakes and gifts for the staff. "Good evening, sirs." "Evening," Martins muttered, barely looking at him. They walked up to the main door, their shoes crunching softly on the gravel. Benson's hand was shaking as he reached into his jacket pocket, his fingers closing around something cold and metal. A knife. He had bought it that afternoon from a hardware store in Ikja, paying cash so there would be no record. Martins knocked on the door, and the sound seemed too loud in the quiet night. Chief opened it himself. He wasn't smiling. His face was hard and serious. "Come in." They followed him through the house and into his study. The door closed behind them with a heavy click. Rex, who had been lying in the corner of the room, stood up immediately. His ears went flat against his head, and his eyes locked onto the two men with an intensity that was almost human. Something about them felt wrong tonight. Different, dangerous. He growled softly, deep in his throat. "Rex, easy," Chief said firmly. But even he felt the tension in the air, thick enough to cut with a knife. The three men sat down, Chief behind his desk. Martins and Benson in the chairs across from him. For a long moment, nobody spoke. The silence was heavy and uncomfortable, broken only by Rex's low growling and the ticking of the wall clock. Then Chief broke the silence, his voice cold and direct. "So, are you going to tell me the truth now? Or are we going to keep playing these stupid games?" Martins looked at Benson. Benson looked at the floor, unable to meet Chief's eyes. "Chief, we made mistakes, big mistakes, terrible mistakes, but we can fix it. Just give us some time to put the money back." "Time," Chief's voice was rising now, filling the room. "You've had months, and instead of fixing anything you kept stealing, you kept lying to my face." "We weren't stealing," Benson snapped, his head jerking up. "We were trying to save the business, we were trying to cover some losses." "By lying to me," Chief stood up, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. "By hiding money, by forging documents with my signature." His voice echoed through the room like thunder. Rex's growl grew louder and more threatening. He moved closer to Chief, positioning himself between his master and the two men, his body tense and ready. Martin stood up too, his hands shaking so badly he had to clasp them together. "Chief, please, you have to understand. If you report us to the police, we'll lose everything. Our businesses will collapse, our houses will be taken, our families will suffer, our children. Then you should have thought about your children before you betrayed me." Chief's words hit like hammer blows. "You should have thought about the consequences before you stole from me." Benson's face twisted with a mixture of anger, fear, and pure desperation. His eyes were wild now, like a cornered animal. "You don't understand," he shouted, standing up so fast his chair fell backward. "If you expose us, we're completely finished. We'll go to jail, our wives will leave us and take the children. Our names will be destroyed forever. Nobody will ever do business with us again." "That's not my problem," Chief shot back, his finger pointing at them. "You made your choices, you committed the crime, now face the consequences like men. And now we're making our choice." The room went completely silent. Chief froze, his finger still pointing. Something in Benson's voice had changed, something final. Benson slowly pulled out the knife from inside his jacket. The blade caught the light from the desk lamp, gleaming silver and deadly. Martin's eyes went wide with shock and horror. "Benson, what are you doing? What the hell are you doing?" "What we should have done from the very beginning." Chief stepped back, his face showing fear for the first time. "Are you insane? You're going to kill me, in my own house." Rex barked loudly now, sharp and aggressive. He lunged forward, his teeth bared and ready to protect his master. But Benson was faster. He kicked the dog hard in the ribs. Rex yelped in pain and fell back, rolling under the desk and hitting the wall. "Rex," Chief shouted, momentarily distracted. That was all Martins needed. He grabbed Chief from behind, wrapping his arms around him and holding him tight. "Benson, stop. This is crazy. This is complete insanity." "Shut up." Benson's face was wild now, beyond reason. "It's too late to go back, don't you understand? It's him or us." Chief struggled hard, trying to break free. He was strong, even at his age, but he was older and they were 2 against 1. "Let me go. You'll regret this. Both of you will regret this." Benson raised the knife high, and time seemed to slow down to a crawl. Chief saw the blade coming down. He tried to move, tried to twist away, but Martins held him too tight, his arms like iron bands. The knife went into Chief's stomach. Once, the pain was immediate and shocking. Twice, Chief gasped, his eyes going wide with disbelief and agony. Blood began to soak through his white shirt, spreading like a dark red flower. Martins let go and stumbled backward, his hands flying to his mouth. Oh God, what did we do? What have we done?" Benson was breathing hard, his chest heaving. His hands were covered in blood, wet and sticky. The knife clattered to the floor with a metallic sound that seemed impossibly loud. Chief collapsed. His hand reached out desperately, trying to grab the edge of the table for support. But he missed. He fell hard onto the expensive carpet with a heavy thud. Under the table, hidden in the shadows and frozen with fear, Rex watched everything. His master, his protector, his whole world, bleeding, dying. The dog whimpered softly, his body trembling. But he didn't move. He was too scared, too shocked by what he had just witnessed. Martins was packing now, panicking, his breath coming in short gasps. "We have to go, we have to leave right now. The guard might have heard something." "Wait," Benson grabbed his arm roughly. "We need to clean this up, we need a plan, we can't just run." "A plan? We just killed him. We just murdered Chief Orgy." "Shut up and let me think." Benson looked around the room frantically, his eyes landing on the CCTV camera mounted in the corner. Its red light blinked steadily, recording everything. His heart nearly stopped. He ran to it, reaching up and ripping open the panel. He pulled out the hard drive with shaking, bloody fingers and stuffed it into his jacket pocket. Then he pulled out a blank hard drive from his other pocket, one he had prepared earlier, and replaced it. "What are you doing?" Martins asked, his voice high with panic. "Covering our tracks, erasing the evidence." Benson turned around, his mind working fast despite the chaos. Now there's no footage of what happened here tonight." Martins was shaking his head over and over. "This won't work, the police will know, they'll find out somehow, they always do. Not if we frame someone else." Benson picked up Chief's phone from the desk with his bloody fingers, leaving dark smudges on the screen. He scrolled through the contacts until he found what he was looking for. Emeka's number. His thumb hovered over it for just a second. Then he typed a message, carefully wording it to sound exactly like Chief would write. "Come to the house quickly, I need you urgently." He hit send. Martin stared at him with a mixture of horror and disbelief. "You're going to blame Emeka, that innocent boy. He's the only one who comes here this late at night. The only one the guard won't question. The only one people will believe had access and opportunity." Benson wiped the knife clean with a cloth from the desk, carefully removing his own fingerprints. Then he placed it on the floor near Chief's body, positioning it just right so it would look like someone had dropped it there. "Let's go now before anyone comes." They moved toward the door quickly, but as they passed the table, Rex's eyes followed them from his hiding place in the shadows. He saw their faces clearly. He smelled their fear mixed with Chief's blood. He heard their footsteps. And deep inside that loyal dog's heart, something changed forever. He would remember this night, every single detail, every sound, every smell. The door closed quietly. The house was silent again, except for Chief's shallow, struggling breathing. He was still alive, but barely. His hand moved weakly on the carpet, his fingers twitching. His lips whispered something, but no one was there to hear his final words. Outside, 15 minutes away in a small one-room apartment, Emeka checked his phone and saw the message from Chief. His heart jumped with concern. Urgently at this time of night, that's not like him at all. He grabbed his keys, not even bothering to change out of his casual clothes, and started running back toward the mansion. Was Emeka running toward salvation, or straight into a trap that would destroy his entire life? The answer would come too soon, and it would be written in blood. Emeka's footsteps echoed through the quiet streets of Lekki as he ran toward the mansion. His heart was pounding hard, not from the running but from the worry that gripped his chest like a fist. Chief never sent messages like that. Never. The man was careful with his words, always clear and specific. "I need you urgently," without any explanation, felt wrong. It felt dangerous. Emeka tried calling Chief back as he ran. Once, twice, 3 times. Each call went straight to voicemail, and each time the automated voice spoke, his worry grew stronger. "Please God, let him be okay, please." He ran faster, his lungs burning and his legs aching. The street lights blurred past him like yellow streaks. A few late-night pedestrians turned to look at him curiously, probably wondering why a young man was running through Lekki like his life depended on it. Behind him, about 2 blocks away in the shadows of a side street, Martins and Benson sat in their black car. They had parked where they could see the mansion gate but wouldn't be easily spotted. The engine was off. The windows were slightly open to let in air because the tension inside the car was suffocating. Martins was sweating heavily despite the cool night air. His hands wouldn't stop shaking and he kept wiping them on his already damp trousers. Every few seconds he would close his eyes and see Chief's face again, the shock in those eyes, the blood spreading across that white shirt, the way he fell. "This is wrong, Benson, this is so terribly wrong. We're murderers now. We killed a man, we killed our friend." "Shut up," Benson hissed, his voice low and dangerous. "It's done. We can't go back and undo it. We can't change what happened. So stop crying about it and focus on staying free." "But what if it doesn't work? What if the police find out? What if someone saw us?" Benson turned to look at him and his eyes were cold and hard like stones. "Then we both go to jail for the rest of our lives. We'll rot in Kirikiri prison with criminals and rats. Our families will be destroyed. Our children will grow up knowing their fathers are killers. Is that what you want?" Martins looked away, feeling sick to his stomach. He had never imagined his life would come to this. Just this morning he was a respected businessman, a husband, a father of 3 beautiful children. Now he was sitting in a dark car, waiting to watch an innocent man get arrested for a crime he didn't commit. Benson pulled out his phone and opened the camera app, checking the settings. "When he goes inside and finds the body, I'll take pictures through the window. We need evidence that he was there, that his hands touched everything. The police will have no choice but to arrest him. And if he doesn't go inside, what if he gets suspicious?" "He will, he's loyal, stupidly, blindly loyal, that's his weakness." Benson's mouth twisted into something that might have been a smile but looked more like a grimace. "He'll run straight in to save Chief, and that's when we have him." Inside the mansion, Chief Orji lay on the floor of his study. His breathing was so shallow now it was barely visible. Blood had pooled around him, soaking deep into the expensive Persian carpet that had cost him millions of naira. His eyes were half closed, his vision blurry and fading, but he was still conscious, still fighting to stay alive. His hand twitched weakly. His lips moved, forming words that no sound could carry. "Emeka, run, you trap." He wanted to warn him, wanted to tell him not to come. But his voice was gone, stolen by the knife wounds that had punctured his stomach and were slowly draining his life away. Under the table, Rex finally moved. The dog had been frozen in shock and fear, but now something inside him pushed past the terror. He crawled out slowly, his belly low to the ground, his ears flat against his head. He whimpered as he approached Chief, the smell of blood overwhelming his sensitive nose. Rex sniffed his master's hand gently, then his face. He licked Chief's fingers as if trying to wake him up, trying to bring him back from wherever he was slipping away to. But Chief didn't respond, his chest barely moved. Rex sat down beside him, resting his head on Chief's chest, right over his heart. And then the dog let out a long, mournful howl that echoed through the empty house. It was the saddest sound in the world, the sound of a loyal heart breaking. Outside, the gate suddenly opened. Emeka rushed in, his chest heaving and his face covered in sweat. Ibrahim jumped up from his chair, startled and confused. "Emeka, you came back, but you just left." "Chief called me, is he okay? Did something happen?" Ibrahim's face showed confusion. "I don't know, I haven't heard anything strange, but those 2 men came earlier." Emeka's blood ran cold. "What men?" "Mr. Martins and Mr. Benson. They arrived maybe 45 minutes ago." Emeka felt his stomach drop like a stone into deep water. Martins and Benson. The same men Chief had been investigating for theft, the same men who had everything to lose if Chief exposed them. He didn't wait for more answers. He ran toward the house, his legs pumping hard. The front door was unlocked. That was the second bad sign. Chief, are you here?" His voice echoed through the empty hallway. No response, just silence, heavy, thick silence. He ran through the living room, past the dining area, toward the study where Chief spent most of his evenings. The door was slightly open, and a thin line of light spilled out into the dark hallway. Chief, Emeka pushed the door wide open, and then his entire world stopped. Chief Orji was lying on the floor in a pool of blood. His white shirt was completely soaked through with red. His face was pale, almost grey. His eyes were closed. No. Emeka's voice broke as he rushed forward and dropped to his knees beside Chief. His hands went immediately to the wounds, pressing down hard, trying desperately to stop the bleeding even though blood was already everywhere. On the carpet, on Chief's clothes, now on Emeka's hands and shirt. Chief, stay with me, please don't leave me. Chief's eyes opened slightly, just tiny slits. He saw Emeka's face above him, saw the tears streaming down the young man's cheeks. His lips moved, trying to form words. Emeka. I'm here, sir, I'm right here, don't talk, save your strength, I'll call an ambulance right now. Emeka reached for his phone with one bloody hand while keeping pressure on the wounds with the other. But his hands were shaking so violently, he almost dropped it. The screen was getting covered in blood smears, making it hard to see. Chief's hand suddenly grabbed Emeka's sleeve. It was weak, trembling, but there was urgency in that grip. He was trying to tell him something, trying to warn him. But before the words could come out, Chief's hand went limp. It fell back to the carpet with a soft thud. His eyes closed. His chest stopped moving. Chief. Emeka shook him gently at first, then harder. No, don't leave me, please, wake up. But Chief Orji didn't wake up. The great man, the honest businessman, the father figure who had changed Emeka's entire life was gone. Rex barked loudly, sharply, over and over. The dog was packing now, running between Emeka and the door, his behavior frantic and desperate. He kept looking at the window, then back at Emeka, then at the door again. He was trying to say something, trying to warn him. But Emeka didn't understand. He couldn't see through his tears and his shock. Outside, hidden in the shadows near the study window, Benson crouched low with his phone raised. The camera was recording everything through the gap in the curtains. He captured Emeka kneeling over Chief's body, his hands covered in blood. Click. Another photo of Emeka's face, full of panic and tears and guilt that wasn't really guilt, but would look like it to anyone who didn't know the truth. Click. One more shot showing the knife on the floor beside them, placed perfectly by Benson earlier. Benson grinned in the darkness. Perfect, absolutely perfect. Martins was standing behind him, holding his stomach like he might vomit. He couldn't watch anymore. He turned away and stumbled back toward the car, his legs weak and unsteady. Inside, Emeka finally managed to dial the emergency number with his blood-slick fingers. Hello, I need an ambulance right now. Chief Orji has been stabbed. He's not breathing. Please hurry, please. The operator's voice was calm and professional, too calm for the nightmare Emeka was living. Sir, please stay on the line. Help is on the way. Can you tell me your exact location? Emeka gave the address, his voice breaking with every word. His whole body was shaking now, his teeth chattering even though the room wasn't cold. He looked down at Chief, at the blood on his hands, at the man who had been like a father to him, who had given him everything, who had believed in him when no one else did. Why, Emeka whispered, tears streaming down his face. Who did this to you? Who would do this? Rex barked again, louder and more desperate. He ran to the door and back to Emeka, then to the door again. His behavior was wild, frantic. It was like he was screaming without words. They're watching, they're setting you up, run. But Emeka still didn't understand. His mind was too clouded with shock and grief. 5 minutes felt like 5 hours. But finally, sirens pierced the night air. Red and blue lights flashed through the windows, painting the walls in alternating colours. The police arrived first, their heavy boots pounding on the marble floors. Then the ambulance crew with their equipment and stretchers. Emeka was still on his knees, still holding Chief's hand, when 2 police officers burst into the study. They took one look at the scene and their training kicked in immediately. Blood everywhere, a body on the floor, a young man covered in blood kneeling over the victim. One officer, a tall man with tribal marks on his face, immediately pulled out his gun and pointed it at Emeka. Step away from the body, now, hands where I can see them. Emeka looked up, confused and disoriented. What? No, I didn't do this, I'm the one who called you. I said step away. I was trying to save him, I found him like this. Please, you have to believe me. The second officer, shorter and stockier, grabbed Emeka's arm and yanked him roughly to his feet. Turn around, hands behind your back. Wait, you don't understand, I didn't do anything, I loved this man. He was like my father. Then why is his blood all over you? Emeka looked down at himself. His hands were completely red. His shirt was soaked through. His knees were stained dark. He looked exactly like what they thought he was. A killer. I was trying to stop the bleeding. I was trying to help him, please. But they weren't listening. The handcuffs clicked shut around his wrists, cold and tight and final. You're under arrest for the murder of Chief Orji. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in court. No, this can't be happening. They started dragging him toward the door. Emeka tried to resist, tried to plant his feet, but they were too strong. Rex went absolutely crazy. The dog barked and snarled and lunged at the officers, his teeth snapping. He managed to bite one of them on the leg, his jaws clamping down hard. Get this animal away from me. One officer kicked Rex hard in the ribs. The dog yelped in pain and fell back, rolling across the floor. Rex, Emeka shouted, his voice breaking. Rex, it's okay boy, don't fight them. But it wasn't okay. Nothing was okay, everything was falling apart. As they dragged Emeka out of the house and toward the police van, he looked back one last time. At Chief's body being covered with a white sheet by the paramedics. At Rex sitting beside it, howling like his entire world had ended. And outside, sitting in their car down the street with the engine idling, Benson smiled with satisfaction. Martin stared at the flashing police lights, his face pale as death. It worked, Benson said quietly, slipping his phone back into his pocket. They arrested him. It actually worked. Martins didn't respond. He just closed his eyes tight and prayed silently for forgiveness that he knew would never come. The police van's doors slammed shut. Emeka sat in the back, hands cuffed, head hanging down. He didn't cry anymore. He couldn't. He was too shocked, too broken, too completely shattered. All he could think was, how did this happen? How did I become the villain in a story where I did nothing wrong? How did trying to save a life turn me into a murderer? Would anyone believe Emeka's innocence? Or was he already condemned by the blood on his hands? And Rex, the loyal dog who had seen everything, would anyone listen to what he was trying to say? The nightmare had only just begun, and it was about to get so much worse. If you enjoyed the first part of this story, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel and turn on your notification bell. So when part 2 drops, you'll be the first to know. And hey, drop a comment below and tell me what country you're watching from. Let's see how far this tale is traveling across the world.